What's cracking, people? Anansi here, and welcome back to Jade Empire. In the last one, we went around and gathered a bunch of side quests to do and complete, and we only did one of them, and that was proving the innocence of Scholar Sung Tao. In this one, we're going to continue on through Jade Empire. Also, I want to show off one thing. We're going to do Jade Empire and do our side missions. I want to show one thing. In the last one, we got some closed fist energy. But if you notice, I don't think our bar actually budged. I think we've done so many open bomb moves that our points are so high, it's just not going to budge for us. At any rate, we're going to continue on.
If only I could find a way to put things right.
Now, we're going to hold off with this guy for right now because he's to a side mission that's a little bit more entertaining, but we're going to head straight to the Scholar's Gun because we put that one off for a good bit, and we have business to deal with regards to who's the chart here. Kick to my Warrior's Fate. We have a couple of things to do with regards to the Inquisitor role. So, yeah, as well as dealing with creative Jitong, which, if you recall from my last little sermon, as it were, we had to help him out because, well, the wife of a well-regarded politician decided to sponsor him. But because this is based upon feudal era culture, sponsoring an actor is actually considered a great shame. Now, I want to preface this by saying I don't know if the same stigma applies in Asian culture. Because in Asian culture, as far as I've been able to research, and I'll admit it's very limited right now, there actually isn't a lot of overlap between Is there anything else around here I didn't get earlier? No, there's not. Okay, so I think there's very little overlap between notions of artistry and notions of prostitution. Scroll stand. Configuration of the snake. Interesting. Now, where did we get... I think this is a plot item, right? You found this academic leaflet and kept it. The crux of the argument reads, to think that any machine could be designed around the principles of starting motion with a tiger, of all things, is to dally with utter madness. As if this were not enough, no machine made by the hands of man can be fueled by iron infused with nickel. The resulting metal, while strong, is inert to reactions. Even application of electrical current and the introduction of chimney smoke into a mechanical cauldron are produced no applicable result. This is something else we can use for Lord Lao's furnace, which we're going to hold off on for right now. Scholar Dongao.
Welcome, friend. The lecture won't be starting for a little while, though your enthusiasm is appreciated. I wouldn't worry about seating. Those interfering philosophers had made sure that very few people will be attending the lecture.
I see. Could I ask you some questions?
Certainly. We can't learn without asking questions. How can I help you today?
Can you tell me where to find the Inquisitor, Recruiter?
What? That's quite a question. I'm not sure who told you, but I'd appreciate it if you would keep your voice down when asking those kinds of questions. Nobody here suspects me to be anything but an overzealous scholar, and I'd like to keep it that way. So you want to know about the Recruiter? You have a flying machine, do you not? Yes, I know about that. Go back to the landing area and someone will meet you there.
Okay. Tell the Inquisitor Recruiter I'll be there.
He already knows, I'm sure. Now go, and I will not speak to you about this any further.
Your course is set. The Inquisitor will be waiting at your camp. Appease him, and you'll be on the road to appeasing me.
So yeah, we can keep going. I don't believe you can actually talk to him anymore, can you?
Oh, good to see you again, my friend. Have you returned to listen to my...
Just for some information.
Certainly. We can't learn...
Tell me about this college garden.
Don't let the name fool you. There are fewer scholars here than you might think. We are far outnumbered by those obstinate philosophers. The philosophers believe that the gods dictate everything, from the rising of the sun to the changing seasons. If the summer ends too soon or too late, the gods must be angry. Of course, anyone who cares to look can see that the birds control the weather. I have noted with some accuracy that the birds predict the seasons.
I don't even know where to begin with this one. Really, how does that work?
I have a theory that the massive movements of birds in the autumn and spring actually cause the prevailing winds to change direction. When birds fly south just before autumn, they cause the winds to change. And we get cold air from the north until the spring, when the birds reverse the winds again. It's really quite simple, but just try telling that to one of the philosophers.
Of course, we know why these migration patterns happen in the real world. As the seasons change, I think as colder airs come down to certain areas, the birds will migrate to warmer climates. I don't know the exact machination of it, but it's basically some kind of instinctual migration patterns. Why do you mistrust the philosophers?
Don't get me wrong, I like most of the philosophers, but their strict adherence to aging traditions makes them very difficult to deal with. They're always preaching about peace and harmony. Really, we kill and subdue the creatures of this world in order that we can survive. Where's the peace in that? Can a man survive long enough without eating meat? What about the grains we use to make our bread, or the hides we use for any number of things? We consume constantly. Peace and harmony are wonderful ideals, but in nature only the strong survive, and they don't do it by being peaceful.
What is your lecture about?
I'm glad you asked. Today I will speak on my theories of cloud formation. That was my first major discovery, though it hasn't been widely accepted yet. The basic principles are really quite simple. I deduced after lengthy study that clouds are formed by the moisture escaping from our bodies. When the weather is cool, you can clearly see small clouds escaping from people's mouths. Similar clouds form on the skin of people working strenuously in the cold. These clouds of breath rise up and collect near the tallest peaks, where it is almost always cloudy. This was one of my finest discoveries.
Well, he's partially right, but man, do you miss it. I still think I'll be going.
Oh, so soon. All right then. I hope to see you again soon. Perhaps I could explain to you my theories on the formation of ice crystals.
Oh dear. So basically what we have here is a scroll stand. Let's go ahead and see this. The physical universe, the scholar's hypothesis. To suggest that I, of all people, do not understand the significance or the importance of the celestial beings is preposterous. I pay my tributes at the temple because I honor those who gave us our minds and our curiosity. Philosopher Zhang ignores the crux of the problem by hiding behind his arguments of divine belief. The scholars have made some recent discoveries, such as the way in which clouds are formed, but the philosophers, led by Zhang, dismiss these theories without even hearing them out. How can we progress as a society if we refuse to accept new ideas and new concepts? The philosophers would have us cling to our traditions even at the cost of our own prosperity. So what we have here, to level up, what we have here is an interesting dichotomy of, I guess, a philosophical approach, really, to what it means to be a scholar and what it means to be 50 style points, to be a scholar and what it means to be. Right, so we'll leave that alone for right now. What it means to be a scholar and what it means to be a philosopher. As far as when we spoke to Deng Gao, for all intents and purposes, a scholar, as far as he defines it. Go ahead and increase the damage on this, and then we're going to put a couple of points into the 1,000 cuts, because of course we're going to increase the speed of this thing. So I can complete a harmonic combo. So basically, what I'm getting at here is paralyzing palm. Oh, wait, I think we actually did learn. Yeah, this is what I was thinking about. Okay, I think... Okay, I'm going to have to show this one off then. We'll have to... Let's get into a fight. I'll show off the paralyzing palm. Because I believe this is the one I was thinking about earlier. Okay, there's one thing about earlier where you had your hand down and he's just kind of being insulting with it. But what I'm getting at is that the scholars of the Scholar's Garden are, well, depicted to be unbelievably pragmatic. They're devoted to science, scholarship, you know. But philosophers are devoted to tradition. Go to their book stand. So let me read this through real fast and we'll get more into that. The physical universe, a final word. The world we live in is not as simplistic as philosopher Jean suggests in his treatise on the physical universe. His hypotheses regarding divine regulation of weather and seasons, though interesting, is nothing more than children's tales made overly complicated. Recent research, led by scholar Dungao, has proven that our seasons and weather are much more than the careless whims of distant celestial beings. Our universe is made up of very real, very tangible components that can be carefully quantified and qualified. So basically what we're dealing with is basically traditionalist versus, I guess, realist. We'll read that in a second here. But, scholars and you. But I think the real issue is that they're not, I guess that's the real joke here is that neither one seems to actually be doing scholarship and philosophy as it has traditionally been taught. Philosophy is not just an adherence to the gods. That's what the philosophers of this game are essentially talking about are just spiritualists. The philosopher, in principle, it doesn't mean having not taken a philosophy class. I'm just speaking purely on what I have seen with regards to storytelling. Is basically asking existential questions. And yes, is there a God is one of those existential questions. But it also goes deeper than that. It's like, for instance, a common phrase is that the world doesn't care about you. The world is cruel and unforgiving. When we say that, do we mean the world as a whole, the natural world, the natural order? In which case, sure, you could make the argument that that is the case because it is kill or be killed. But when it comes to people, comes to humanity, for the most part, we kind of live outside of the natural order. We kind of live outside of that world. So, is the world cruel because it is naturally cruel, or is it cruel because we make it and allow it to be cruel? That question is a philosophical question. A scholarship question would be, what are the machinations that drive society? What are the machinations that drive nature? What is the cause and the effect? That's a scholarship question. So it's kind of interesting that we have inside Jade Empire, essentially two groups that claim to be one thing but are both completely off base. Now, scroll stand. The physical universe, the philosopher's viewpoint. Although scholar Zhao Shang has raised several interesting points in his rebuttal of my treatise on the physical world, his lack of respect for the divine is of greater concern than his lack of understanding of the physical world around him. I agree that there are many aspects of our world that cannot be explained by divine influence alone. We learn and continue to thrive at the mercy of the celestial beings. Without their guidance, and indeed their blessing, we would quickly discover that research and understanding of our physical world alone are not nearly enough for us to survive. And we have it right there. Another instance of someone not really being a philosopher, but being a religious devotee. I don't know if anyone here listening has heard this saying, but has anyone ever heard a saying of knowledge without wisdom is nothing but books on your back? It's pretty much useless. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but without wisdom is useless. Basically, you can be as book learned as you need to, but if you're not street smart, it's not going to help you out. However, by comparison, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If we take this to a philosophical approach, then wisdom without knowledge is nothing but scrolls on your back. Basically, you can be as street smart as you want, but you don't have the book smarts to apply it in a bigger picture sense, is useless. Just as if you are book smart about street smart, if you are able, you have this big picture sense, but you don't take the time to look at the smaller machinations of the world, it doesn't work. That's a personal philosophy of mine. And that scroll right there pretty much just indicates that whoever wrote this is just as lost as the other guy. Now, Scholar Zinyu, what do you got to say?
Hello there, traveler. Forgive my forwardness, but I noticed your arrival earlier while I was at the tavern. That flying machine of yours is truly a marvel. I actually have a design for a new prototype flyer, and I hope to get funding to build it one day. The other scholars aren't interested in my inventions, though.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Me? You want to ask me something? Well, sure, I'd be glad to help you if I can. What would you like to know?
I like this guy. He's very giddy. Who are you? What is it you do here?
Oh, I'm Scholar Zenyu. I'm one of the newer scholar elites. I was actually born in the poor quarter, but my uncle brought me here when I was only 10. He knew I would never have a chance at a real life unless I had some proper schooling. I've lived here with him ever since.
Tell me about the Imperial City.
That's right, you're new here, aren't you? Well, where should I begin? There's so much to tell you. There are several important areas here in the city. Of course, there are also many different services, too. I'm not sure what to tell you first.
Just tell me about the important places.
Sure. Well, let's see. This place is the Scholars' Garden. For the most part, only stuffy old philosophers and scholars reside here. Farther down toward the city, you'll find the Golden Way. Many wealthy people live and work there. Hopefully some willing to fund one of my inventions. Then there's the Market District, near where you landed earlier. Most of the city does its business there. It's an interesting place. At least, I think so. You'll also find the path to the Black Leopard School there, across the river from the arena. I haven't been there, but I hear it's an interesting place to visit.
Tell me about the city services.
One of the best places in the city is the arena. Just don't tell my masters I said so. If you go to the arena, you'll also see the heart of the Empire Tavern. And of course, there are several shops and merchants with all manner of supplies available. All of that can be found in the Market District.
Tell me more about the cavern.
I'm not supposed to go there. At least not when I'm studying, but it's hard to resist. It's known as the best tavern in all the Empire. I actually do some of my best thinking while I'm there. I like to sit in the upper rooms with a bit of wine and just look out over the city. Or the arena.
Let's go back to my other questions. Let's go back to my first questions. What can you tell me about Death's Hand?
Now there's a question you don't hear very often. Not too many people like to talk about him. In fact, if I were you, I'd be careful who I ask. I'm not one to believe in superstitious nonsense, but I still wouldn't want to draw his attention. He's very powerful and very dangerous. Some people even suggest that he has gained some control over our honorable emperor. I find it hard to believe, but I suppose it's possible.
Have you heard any interesting rumors lately?
A city like this always has rumors. Some people say the ghosts are angry and attacking innocent people. Another rumor suggests the emperor is dying. But I wouldn't believe any of that. Just because the emperor hasn't been seen in a while doesn't mean he's ill. Perhaps he just wants some solitude.
What else can you tell me about the emperor?
The emperor is a wise and powerful man. How else could he have solved the drought so many years ago? I wasn't born then, but I've heard the stories. It's true that he hasn't been seen much recently, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. It's not like the Empire is falling apart in his absence. Maybe he's just taking a rest from all the hard work he's done. Nobody deserves a rest more than the Emperor.
You mentioned something about the ghosts before.
I think they are just rumors. I haven't seen any ghosts at all, angry or otherwise. If the ghosts are angry about something, why aren't they here right now? Come to think of it, I don't know any one person who's ever seen a ghost. I prefer to spend my time and energy on things that are real. Designing a new prototype flying machine, now that's important.
I must be going. Good fortune to you.
All right then. Goodbye.
Now I want to bring out something I forgot to do earlier. Scholar Sung Tao that we saved in the last part. He was, well, first Sun Tao, with the top 10 in a second here. He was pretty much accused of, for all intents and purposes, this is something I gotta deal with in a second here. He was accused of slave trading to try to save Chandler Ling. What we learned from Scholar Sung Tao, he pretty much helped the lower quarter out. The lower quarter. I'm sorry, my Tales of Vesperia showing through, but the let's see, we need to find Scholar Sung Tao. As here he is, he can give us some stuff. He's basically a merchant. If we didn't save him, we would have to deal with Chandler Lee, and I believe he has wild truck prices.
Good day again. You've done a great deal to aid me. If there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. I've got some interesting items if you'd like to see them.
Show me what you have for sale. So we have a lot of this stuff here. And the Lucky Hand, a rare gem, I believe. More silver from human enemies. So if you need more money, this is where you get it. You gotta spend 5,000 silver to get it, but it's supposed to pay off in the long run. When properly prepared, this gem plucks the silken strands of fate, gently placing small amounts of local currency in the pockets of the people within a certain distance of the wielder. Used in more innocent times to subtly bolster the wealth of the poor, these gems have fallen into misuse, and pockets now use it to pack the pouches of those from whom they steal. So basically, Robin Hood. So we're going to go ahead and equip this gem. I gotta move a couple things around. I think we're pretty much done with reading for right now. If we do find more, I'll swap it in. But essentially, yeah, this Scholar Sung Tao, he was very much helping people out in the poorer quarter, and I believe what happened was that one of the governors, one of the people that was backing Chandler Ling, wanted him out the way because he was essentially improving the lives of those seen as beneath him. I think he wanted to get him out the way because he doesn't want to get away. That's usually how that goes. Anyway, let's keep on going here. Now, we can talk to all the scholars in the Scholar Garden, but for the sake of brevity, we'll do that in a separate part. For now, this is where we're at. Because if you remember correctly, in the earlier part, we dealt with a man whose name escapes me, I'm not going to lie, that fed us very, very, very strange food. And he mentioned something about a very loud and brash and strangely dressed man in the Scholar's Garden. There was also, oh, there's another one, so I gotta re-equip it. No, wait, did I already read this? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, well, let's experience. The long drought stands as one of the worst periods in the Jade Empire's recent history. 10 years of scorching heat and little rainfall took their toll on even the prodigious reserves of the Empire's granaries. The sages predicted at least 3 more devastatingly dry years. Devastatingly dry years, while those in the Ministry of Harmony watched the death toll amount into the hundreds of thousands. While those in the Ministry of Harmony watched the death toll mount to the hundreds of thousands. Then Emperor Sunhai declared that the drought was over, and somehow it was. Through the Emperor's divine will, green returned to our parched land and stability was restored. So yeah, we lost out on a little bit of experience, but it's nothing to worry about. Okay, you know what? I'm not making the same mistake twice. Sorry, Imperial Favor. Oh, okay, this is what I read from. Okay, that was what it was. So yeah, so basically, we were told about this guy, and then someone inside the Golden Way has someone insult us because they want us to deal with him. Here's the guy.
As amusing as your savage dances are, once again I have proven the superiority of setting your nose to the grindstone and not mucking about. Now bring some refreshments in a proper mug, or I'll take back the coins of my home and country. Don't you heathens know the worth of a proper king's halfpenny?
Generous visitor, if our customs are so displeasing to you, perhaps you should find lodging elsewhere?
Please?
And leave you lot to your primitive ways? Tell them what I think of that, Squire Percival.
Sir Roderick Ponce von Fontelbottom, the magnificent bastard, will do no such thing. He means to educate you all.
Good lad. Found him wading in the mud, planting weeds. You can't keep your crackers crisp doing that. Can't help you if you don't know the horror of a soggy biscuit. I've given him dignity, and unless one of you has the will to deny that I'm your better, I suggest you start learning. We'll have you in proper trousers by the morrow.
So we could be polite. We could say, "Who are you to judge? Some barbarian from outside the empire?" Or we can go, "You insult a noble and ancient people, Outlander." So it all depends on how you want to respond to this. You could be very polite. "Sir, your arrogance is astounding. We are a cultured people." Or, "Who are you to judge? You some barbarian from outside the empire?" Or, "You insult a noble and ancient people, Outlander." So I think we'll go with this. "Sir, your arrogance is astounding. We are a cultured people."
What's that? Someone stepping to the fore? Let's have a look at you. You have the keen eyes of an educated man. Know the ins and outs of philosophical debate, do you? Well, what about your twos and fours? What of them? The simple truth is that I have bested every one of you who has come forward, whether in tests of wit or combat. You faced a champion of king and country. Now, I didn't ask to land here, but if a storm is going to cast my ship into the very heart of such a dark empire, I'll bring the light of knowledge wherever I can. You must hunger for guidance. You're like children. I mean, only a handful of you can even grow a decent moustache. What kind of place is this?
You blind yourself for prejudice. I can prove you wrong.
Can you now? Shall we put that to a test? I welcome the chance that you might impress me with a glimmer of intelligent insight. But I will acknowledge that I am likely to disagree just because I know you are, lacking. We will need educated men to judge the merits of our arguments.
Arguments? What kind of contest are you looking for?
I've gone to great pains to learn your barbaric tongue, only to find that none of you has much to say. Can you convince me otherwise? I've heard a distinct lack of couplets and quatrains, to say nothing of pentameters. Is it any wonder you people live as you do? I charge you with defending the heart of your people. If a group of judges determines that you have adequately done so, I will declare you the winner.
Very well, I will agree to this. Who shall judge?
Whoever you wish. These five, standing here. I'm sure there will be a balance of opinion. The test must be fair. Go on, talk to them all to prove I haven't coerced them. We'll begin the debate when you're ready. Then we'll see how you fare in combat. Doubt you'll do very well. Like the rest, you're all just too damn skinny.
I heard you accept the Outlander's challenge. I'm grateful you have seen fit to defend us all. I would be honored to sit in judgment of the debate. Several of my fellow scholars have also volunteered.
I trust you will judge fairly?
To do otherwise would only help the Outlander win in the long run. If he wants a true debate, we will allow it to progress fairly. Of course, I doubt his arguments will have the weight that he expects. Not here in the heart of the Jade Empire.
What kind of arguments do you favor?
I am ill-equipped to see my own faults, but I, like my fellow scholars, am adept at exploiting the weaknesses of others. Scholars Heng and Zhao are easily swayed with simple facts. Cite such details, and they are certain to change their opinion either for or against.
What strategy should I take?
The best course is to appeal to the individual preferences of the judges. We are theoretical thinkers, really. It is not so much the subject, but the tactic that triggers reaction. Each judge will respond only to argument styles they favor. If a judge likes fact, use it once and he will join your side. Use it again and he will switch back just to further debate. Other arguments may not interest him at all.
I'll get ready for the debate. Goodbye.
I wish you luck. I look forward to your defense of the Empire.
So basically, we're dealing with a pompous ass. So yeah, I remember getting to this part of the game, and I'm not gonna lie, the joke went over my head because I was not very, very versed in, as you would say, colonial history. Scroll down. The mysterious East. Scholars know little about the culture that lies across the glass ocean. The tribes of that land have a sizable amount of gold and a near insatiable demand for silk and spices. They also seem able to manufacture metals to an astounding degree, though perhaps not in as sophisticated a manner as our master tradesmen. Still, something on the other side of the glass ocean bears investigation. Unfortunately, few trade fleets have ever successfully made the passage, and those trade caravans that do pass follow a circuitous route. That word is hard to say. A circuitous route through unenlightened peoples hostile to the Jade Empire. So basically, this is BioWare's dig at colonial England. Because as you can see, this is, what was his name? Sir Roderick von Bottleham, the Magnificent Bastard, has a fork on a cheese, as cheese on a fork for his insignia. And the whole purpose of this entire side quest is to just debate him and humiliate him. It's essentially retrograde catharsis. I want to say this is one of the earlier instances of people straight up going, colonial Europe really wasn't all it was cracked up to be. Because here's the thing, right? You pretty much heard everything he said. He is very shallow and only looks at the surface area. He doesn't really look beyond what is there. His whole demeanor and judgment for what makes a cultured people is whether or not they are like him. He doesn't look at the individual culture that makes a people unique. And I remember I saw a documentary where Portugal wanted to conquer Japan. And one of the guys writing back to, I think the king, was like, it'd be easier if they weren't like every other savage. But they had these rules and stuff. It goes to show that as cultured as Europe liked to claim, it really wasn't when you break down everything it did. Did it contribute some things? Sure. Like that scroll stand over there admitted, Europe was able to manufacture metals and other technologies that were of a very fine quality. Like, no one can deny that. But in other areas, they were just done either A, better, or B, more stylized. But I won't say better. They were done in such a way where, okay, one of the more popular examples was that in Africa, this was like, I want to say 1,000 years before England started making steel, they found out that ancient Africans, and I'm speaking because I am black, yeah, of course I'm going to bring this up. They found that when England discovered, I believe, I want to say it was some kind of smelting pot. I have to look up this finer detail, but there was a smelting pot that they made that would reach, I think, on the high end 1,200 degrees Celsius in order to help forge and smelt metals. Well, they found that like 1,000 years ago, Africans were making essentially the same thing, but better out of clay. There was I think it was like this mud mound that they would shove metal into forge that would reach 1,800 degrees Celsius on the low end. And they discovered this like a few hundred years after, everyone kind of got off the high of Europe's so amazing kind of thing, right? And they found this out after doing some research, like, oh, I guess these uneducated people were ahead of the game. So it was just one of those things where it's like you don't really know unless you do the research, right? It's like the modern day equivalent of that smelter could barely hit 2/3 of what that ancient smuggler did, and this was using metal and all the most advanced technologies. And these people back in the past, like 1,000 years ago, was like, let's just throw fire into a clay pot and see what happens. And anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're pretty much going to spend time humiliating this guy, and what we got to do is we got to talk to every single scholar here, right? Every single scholar and philosopher to get what they like, what they don't like. The Minister of Culture, he prefers if you go after someone's weakness, so he will agree with you if you attack someone's weakness. But he said, I think it was Kai and Zhao, Ping and Zhao, one of these two, only agree with straight up facts. So you gotta go around and talk to each and every single one. They'll tell you who likes what and who dislikes what, and then you just go from there. You can actually win this debate in like 3 moves if you know what you're doing. Percival.
The planting season was almost over, so I figured I might as well travel with him. It has been interesting.
Even Percival's like, yeah, I'm not traveling with this guy because I legitimately believe that he's an intelligent individual who knows what he's talking about. I just find him to be a clown. Scholar Zhao.
Oh, this is exciting. I've never been asked to jury a debate before, and now I'm the 3rd of your 5 judges. My name is Scholar Zhao.
What kind of arguments do you favor?
I haven't given it much thought. I pictured myself as balanced, but some of the others are very specific in their tastes. Actually, you can sway Scholars Kai and Gu by mocking your opponent. I don't care for it, but they seem to respond quite vigorously.
What strategy can you offer?
I've argued in this group of scholars many times before. We are so used to each other that we will change opinions just to further the debate. Don't worry so much about what you are saying when you respond. Just concentrate on how you say it.
Do you share the Minister's dislike of the Outlander?
He is coarser than the thinkers I am used to, but on the whole I am not as upset by him as others appear to be. He seems bent on disruptive behavior. He should be encouraged to take that elsewhere.
I should get going. I should get ready. Goodbye.
Good luck. This should be an interesting debate.
Also, can I say that how I love how they describe, like Europe and Northern Oceans as the glass sea, because it's always freaking frozen. Now, okay, so it was Zhu and Hing. They like it when you mock your opponent. No, they like facts. And the two over there like it when you mock them. So keep this in mind, and you'll be able to win this debate pretty easily.
Greetings to you. I am Scholar Hang, and I will be serving as the 2nd of 5 judges for the debate. I look forward to honorable discourse.
What kind of arguments do you favor?
I'm sure the others agree that my tastes are balanced. The minister, however, is easily engaged by sympathetic pleas, as are scholars Zhao and Gu. I find their appreciation of such fawning to be distasteful, but that is one of the arguments they prefer.
Why do you dislike the Outlander?
I don't dislike him. I find some of his points to be worth discussing, but Sir Roderick is a bit disruptive for the garden. He may bring attention that we do not want. It would be best to peacefully encourage him to be on his way.
I should get ready. Goodbye.
Good luck against the Outlander. He is a tenacious speaker.
And even here, everyone's like, I don't dislike him. I think he has decent ideas. He's just an ass. So according to Servant G, let's talk to him in a second. So according to the Minister of Culture, they like facts. These two like facts, but you can only use it once. These two like it when you mock him, but I think you can only use it once. According to her, she dislikes it when you are sympathetic, when you are essentially being coddled. I don't think he has anything he dislikes. Now, Kai.
I greet you. My name is Scholar Kai, and I will be the 4th of 5 judges for the debate. I suggest you don't mess it up.
What kind of arguments do you favor?
I am always impartial, but some of my fellows are easy to goad into decisions if you know their tastes. The minister is particularly fond of confrontational arguments. Respond in a rage and you are sure to engage him.
What strategy can you offer?
Some arguments may win a judge's favor while turning another away. Vary your topics so that you don't end up manipulating the same judges over and over.
Do you share the minister's disdain for the Outlander?
He is an insult to our accomplishments as a people. If you fail in the debate, at least take him to task physically. I don't care where he came from. Anything to get him on his way.
I will get ready for the debate. Goodbye.
The Outlander uses flawed logic. Don't allow him to taint this forum of culture and intellect.
Scholar Goo.
Ah, so you are the one who will debate the Outlander. I am the 5th of your 5 judges.
What kind of arguments do you favor?
Are you implying that I am predisposed to be weak in certain areas? I can't accept that. Some of my fellows, however, are another story. Scholars Zhao and Kai are easy to predict. Dismissing a weak argument gets their attention immediately and will spur them one way or another.
What strategy can you offer?
Try not to dig a hole you can't get out of. If you can't get everyone to agree with you, just focus on getting as many as you can. Remember, you need a majority of judges on your side at the end of 6 topics.
The Outlander has very few supporters.
He doesn't seem that interested in gathering any. He's clearly used to imposing his opinion regardless of the recipient's desire to have it. His points are debatable, but his presentation is not compatible with the garden.
I should get ready. Goodbye.
Yes, make certain you are ready. The Outlander will be a challenging opponent.
Now, it's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and say it real quick. Now, you have 6... You said you have 6 rounds to essentially complete this, but you can actually win this in like 3 or 4 if you know what you're doing. Every single scholar obviously says they're impartial, but according to the Minister of Culture, these 2 respond to facts, these 2 respond to mocking. According to these 2, according to these 2, no, my bad. According to him, the minister responds to, one says the minister responds to dismissive arguments. The others respond to. It's a lot to keep up with, but essentially, as long as you know what you're doing, you can pretty much win this debate pretty easily.
Well, ready to set the ponies in motion, are we? Let's declare some rules and get to it. You don't mind if I make this interesting, do you?
What kind of change are you planning?
I just want to make sure that this is more entertaining than simply blathering about whose walls are higher or whose philosophers really know what's what. It will be a simple matter. 5 judges, 6 topics. I'll pose my argument about why your foolish land stumbles like a child, and you try to answer. The judges will raise their arms to indicate whom they favor. Arms up for you, arms down for me. After 6 topics, if you have a majority, you are the winner. By the Queen's corset, if you get them all on your side at any time, I'll declare the match over. Now, shall we proceed?
And that's it. I shall endeavor to enlighten you.
I will pull no punches, and I expect no mercy on your part. Let's see which of us is truly superior. Well, what shall be my first point of contention? I know, the most basic of concerns for a culture, the currency of its economy. What manner of society would use the silver coin as the basis of trade? Gold is clearly superior, which you admit by using it for important statuary. Your understanding of what determines value is flawed. Your rebuttal?
Now, we can use sympathetic, but I will only get one person on our side. Use mocking, your stance betrays a worship of gold, laughable, or dismissive, while you have no understanding of us. Factual, scarcity proves gold should be reserved for higher purposes. Raging, ignorant fool, you are the poor man here. So we have a range of ones to use, but you want to be careful here. So I think for right now we'll use the factuality of it. The scarcity proves gold should be reserved for higher purposes, whereas an abundance means well that's a factual thing. Now I don't really know if I agree with this or not, but you can kind of see where he's coming from. Because you think, if it's scarce, then it's very easy for it all to be concentrated into one, into a small percentage of the population. You don't want that. So, scarcity proves gold should be reserved for higher purposes.
Well, you are clearly in the minority, but I can spare no quarter. To the next topic. I call attention to the arrogance of your empire. You simply assume that all lands outside your borders are the domain of barbarians and monsters. How can you truly know they are uncivilized until you've proven it by conquest? Crush them beneath your heel. You sit here thinking while far-off lands yearn for direction, not unlike what I am attempting with you.
Very flawed. So we can't use the factual again, but we can mock him. We know outsiders are uncivilized. Look at you.
Well, a majority on your side, but the debate is not over yet. Shall I draw attention to your foolish reliance on personal combat? You've got strange dragon powder arms, but you waste them on spectacle and flying chariots. Any decently civilized people would have developed a proper array of personal sidearms by now, like old Mirabelle here.
And now? No, I forget who's the one is for, but I do know that if you dismiss him, I believe that gets the minister on your side. Simple toys. We have no use for them.
Well, you are clearly in the minority, but I can spare no quarter. To the next topic. I challenge your foolish beliefs and the irrational behaviors they produce. Dragons, spirits, and even talk of unresting dead. Just look at the collective foolishness that you call a floating palace. The constant superstitious yammering of your peasants even has me seeing it. And how the bloody hell would you get a moat up there? It's ridiculous, I say.
Overwhelming evidence supports our local beliefs.
Well, you are clearly in the minority, but I can spare no quarter. To the next topic. I say that you don't seem to understand the relationship between the ruling class and the peasantry. Your commoners are far too happy to be productive. A proper spiral of misery shows that they are doing a decent day's work. Your peasants only suffer because of foolish superstitions about the dead walking around.
Perhaps you don't understand the plight of the poor.
Well, you are clearly in the minority, but I can spare no quarter. To the next topic. This will be the final topic. If you don't have a majority at the end of this round, you will have to admit that I have outdone you. A simple criticism. Your ridiculous clothes. Not a decently puffed pair of trousers to be seen. I ask you, what have you done on the pantaloon front? And why do you remain so clean when any sane man knows the only way to keep devils of the dark at bay is to be brash and to carry the air of the earth? Bathing is bad for the humours as well. Do you people know nothing of maintaining your bile?
I think that is a belief, but it's stupid. Devils, friends, family, I wager you keep them all away.
Well, it would seem that a majority of your fellows have decided your arguments were more persuasive. I expected no less. I could not expect a fair contest in the heart of your city. I was a fool to think otherwise. I seek satisfaction. You have bested me in debate, but true honor is decided on the dueling field.
If that is your wish, I will meet you in combat, or I will teach you a lesson in proper respect, dog.
You have offended me, fool. So be it. You'll face my full wrath in the closest location with room for proper maneuvers. Mirabelle will sit you down. The entry hall here has walls to be up against, corners to be backed into, and floor enough on which to be down but not out. Whatever your metaphor, I'll beat it. Return to me when you are ready, and we will walk there together, just to ensure that no one gets lost or suffers an accident that would prevent a fair fight. Frankly, I don't know what you people are capable of.
I will return when I am ready.
Quickly now, Sir Roderick Ponce von Fontelbottom, the magnificent bastard, is not one to let a duel grow stale on the vine.
Now, before we do that, I want to actually show that you can beat this guy in less than 3 turns. So we're going to load this up again, because I did misjudge that. What you're actually supposed to do, and I just now remembered, is that you're supposed to get the minister on your side first. Then you get someone else on your side, and then you use and then you use facts and then mocking tone. That I remember that's what we're supposed to do, and I completely forgot about that. So I just want to show off that you can beat him in less than 3 turns, and yes, they did show that. They did show that. Look, even if you did win, this guy's up his own backside that he would not allow you to win the beginning.
Well, ready to... Good.
So let's go ahead and
Well, what... You... What? My monocle must be fogged. I can't see anyone in my favor.
It appears they've reached a consensus against you, Sir Roderick.
Clearly these people are incapable of fairly comparing one of their own to an outsider. This is a farce.
Here's the rules. We have acted fairly. Don't make excuses for your stupidity.
There, see how quickly I am dismissed? No grace in victory. You are, and always will be, a backwards lot. I seek satisfaction. You have bested me in debate, but true honor is decided on the dueling field.
I will teach you a lesson in proper respect, dog.
You have offended me, fool. So be it. You'll face my full wrath in the closest location with room for proper maneuvers. Mirabelle will sit you down. The entry hall here has walls to be up against, corners to be backed into, and floor enough on which to be down but not out. Whatever your metaphor, I'll beat it. Return to me when you are ready, and we will walk there together, just to ensure that no one gets lost or suffers an accident that would prevent a fair fight. Frankly, I don't know what you people are capable of.
I am ready now. Let's begin.
What? Good! Let's get this over with so I can return to schooling the rest of your fellows. I envy you. You are about to experience for the first time the skill that has forged an empire and traveled the world. There will be pain as well, but I imagine it will be almost worth it.
Now here's the thing. In a practical fight, this guy would actually win hands down.
Paralyzing paw. 1,000 hits. Legendary strike.
Okay, paralyzing palm was not what I thought it was.
Long sword.
In a real world scenario, this guy would win every time. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. He wins every time.
That was a fine display of skill.
It was a fair fight, Sir Roderick, within the rules you specified.
Yes, old boy, you've got it right. I was really sat down, I believe. Like the fall of the old bridge across the Grand. My humours are in disarray, I tell you. I supposed I should have seen it coming. Your win in the debate was a sure sign. I do believe I have underestimated the lot of you. Regardless, you have beaten me. That's a point of honor I cannot deny.
It was not your day.
Well, there's no other thing for it. Intended or not, you've earned a reward from me. The unsuccessful combatant in a duel must arrange a worthy gift for the victor. I wouldn't be much of an ambassador for my country if I didn't abide by its customs. The Duchess of Almsbottom's rules of engagement are quite clear on this matter.
Have you encountered any interesting gems?
Here, a bauble I found with a nice weight. It was wasted on some roadside beader. The locals acted as though I'd relieve myself on a bleeding shrine to all of creation. I just don't understand this place. Right, Percival, fluff my travelling trousers. We will darken this garden no more.
The silver tongue. So, we had the bronze tongue, now we have the silver tongue, which is... where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Charm 6, Intimidation 6, Intuition 6. Many famous and influential members of the Imperial Court have a gem like the Silver Tongue, which lends power to their lies and bargains in their games of power and influence. One must use care with the Silver Tongue, however, because even the most silver tongue can be plucked from its owner's mouth. Gruesome. So yeah, at the end of it all, White Demon Style. Can you afford this? I'm gonna sell some gems real fast. But yeah, as you can see right there, we've taken care of it. I believe if we talk to the minister.
A well-fought victory against that outlander buffoon. You showed that he could not best us in battle, mentally or physically. We are all in your debt, but the Ministry of Culture is particularly so. Please take this token sum of silver as payment. You certainly earned it.
Certainly I deserve more than this.
I control a very limited treasury. To give any more would call attention to what has happened here.
My performance was a valuable lesson. What is such experience worth against future invaders?
A very good point. Here, take this. I should know not to barter with a master debater. Do you disagree? I've never seen such a cunning linguist. It is money well spent. Compensation because my own diction came up short.
I get it. I get it. Oh man, I did not get that as a kid, but I get it now. Ooh, do I actually have enough now?
Dead or alive, it doesn't matter to me. What can I get
Yes, we
for you
do.
today?
White Demon Style. This was the style that Gal the Lesser and Gal the Greater used on us inside the game. So, here we are. Now, I believe the more you buy for him, the cheaper his goods get. I'll be showing off the White Demon Style in our next fight. Because it's a powerhouse style, but it's a worthwhile style of anything else. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to sell a couple of things. I have... No, not that one. Well, we don't need a Superior Warrior's gem. I just never use these. Wait, do I have two of these? Greater Warrior's Gem of Fate. Oh, okay, my bad. This is just another up on it. It was it the Gem of the Calm of Gentle Mind? Was it? Strong Arm, Gem of the Aura of Calm Gem. So I can sell two of these. I really don't need it. And there we go. And that's that side quest. Yeah, I was not expecting that at all, but he is... Oh man, that was a very fun ending to that. But for now, we're going to call it a party here. I have been Anansi, you've been awesome. And yeah, you can beat that guy in 3 arguments, and even then, he will still try to claim that there's something wrong with you. Now, I should mention that you can get other tomes and whatnot for him to increase your physical stats, but you really shouldn't need it right now. Like, you honestly shouldn't. So having an extra gem on hand does help if you have a particular inclination to speech patterns. Anyway, deuces.